All right. Well, thank you guys for coming out to the very first live What the Fork.
Would you like to introduce yourself, Jared?
Well, no, you just did it.
So, this is Jared Duran. I'm Jason Kyle.
I feel awkward about doing all of our social media plugs. I don't think that this is either the time or place.
No, but you should know that Jared has many other podcasts that highlight artists throughout the Valley.
This is true.
Including Limited
I really
Engagement.
just have the one.
Well, there's Limited Engagement. Mm-hmm. There's Who in Review. Mm-hmm. There's Album Infinitum.
But those artists aren't from the Valley.
But, I know, but you record in the Valley, and I think that's important to mention.
This is. I have a residence here.
Yes. Your zip code is a Phoenix zip code.
This is true. And, a summer residence also here.
Yes.
And ironically, the summer residence and the winter residence are identical.
So,
but yeah.
And I feel like at this time I should plug that I write for the Phoenix New Times and Phoenix Magazine.
Sure.
And I also have a website.
What's that website?
It's www.jasonkyle.com. That's Kyle, Keil.
How'd you come up with the name of the website?
I give it a lot of thought. And I thought, why not just use my name?
All right. Well, I mean, we had this whole elaborate plan of how many people are here for What the Fork and how many people just didn't have any place to go after the end of Fan Fusion. But apparently people would rather stand in line and see a terrible film.
Hey, you guys in line, have you heard our podcast before, What the Fork? It's about The Good Place, which is a really awesome show.
They're not going to answer.
They're not going to answer. How many people here have listened to What the Fork, the podcast?
At this point, if anybody says no, it's kind of... Wait, not every hand is raised. I am shocked.
So we should explain.
This is actually bad percentages right now because...
So I guess we should explain what our podcast is.
Sure. Why not? Go for it.
So pretty much we talk about The Good Place. Well, we try to, but then...
we get around to it eventually.
Yes, but then we end up doing a lot of male bonding over the show. It's not only a show about The Good Place, it's about the bromance that is Jared and Jason.
Okay.
Would you say that's accurate?
Sure.
Okay.
Why not? It's a show about digressions. So if The Good Place is about, is a great ground for philosophical discourse, ours is a good ground for completely getting off topic.
Yeah, that sounds accurate.
Yes, I think so.
I mean, we do talk about philosophy in the show quite a bit.
Occasionally, yeah.
Yeah. So, but mainly it just becomes talking about ourselves.
In relation to pop culture.
Yes.
Mostly.
So.
I think so.
Okay. So did you guys get it? The two people who didn't raise their hands?
We actually planned very little for this.
Yeah.
Which is in keeping with the format of the show, so that was good.
Yeah. Should we introduce our special guest?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah. So
we'd like to welcome Ted Danson to the stage.
Woo!
Shock to all of us.
Ted Danson! We had Kristen Bell. We were so close, but there was a scheduling conflict.
There was a scheduling conflict.
Because
she had to do her own husband's podcast.
And she's really busy with the voices for Frozen 2.
There's a second one?
Yeah. I know this.
Why do you know this?
I have kids, man.
I don't know if that explains it away. But no, even better than Ted Danson, we have the wonderful Amy Young here. So please... Why not? Welcome, Amy Young.
If there was ever a time, this would be it.
The time is now. You have notes?
Wow. You have notes?
Yeah.
Oh, man, you came so prepared.
I know.
You're making us look bad.
I know.
I have 3 notes.
Normally, I'm the one with notes, and the last 3 episodes were recorded. I have not taken any.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Let me check the levels.
I'm not going to wear the headphones.
That's all right.
I have to because I'm easily distracted.
You have a black cord there. Okay.
Hi, guys.
Hello.
Let's try that again.
Hi, guys.
That's some feedback. All
so,
right.
Amy, tell us a little bit about yourself.
What do you want to know?
I hear you host another podcast.
Host a podcast with Ashley Naftul called Prize Fighting Kangaroo, where we talk about movies. This year we're focusing on directors, so we're episode by episode breaking down movies by directors that we are interested in talking about. And
who was the last one and who's coming up?
Whit Stillman was the last one that we had. Another guest in town, Tom Reardon, who's another journalist in Phoenix, is a big Whit Stillman fan. He came on to talk about the 3 movies Whit Stillman ever made. I mean,
so you guys are going for like audience numbers, like huge population, like hitting like for the popcorn money there.
Yeah.
Do you have any plans to cover Barry Levinson anytime soon?
No.
And why not?
Not saying that we won't, but now that you put the suggestion out there, maybe we'll invite you to come on and talk about it with us.
I can talk about Diner, and then other things that I forget that Barry Levinson has done that I'm usually reminded of.
Can you remember anything that Whit Stillman ever did?
I don't think I've ever seen a Whit Stillman film.
Barcelona.
Okay, so no, I'm still out.
Yeah,
I you know what? For somebody who puts himself out there as a cinephile, I'm woefully lacking in many areas.
And didn't he do Love and Friendship a couple years ago?
Yeah.
That unfinished Jane Austen one.
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
Did you say something about finished Jane Austen?
It was an unfinished Jane Austen novel.
Oh, unfinished. I'm thinking of finish as in like FINNISH. So like, a finished Jane Austen.
Yeah. Maybe in that case it would have been interesting, but I'm just not.
So you're talking about Whit Stillman as if you're not a fan?
I'm not a fan.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, so
and you let Tom on anyway?
Podcast on him.
Well, yeah, we talked about it. We talked about how much I'm not a fan. And
so I haven't listened to the episode yet, but that's interesting.
Yeah, I think he's boring. I think his dialogue is boring. I think his direction is boring. I think his subject matter is boring. And I think it's because he's boring.
Oh.
And he writes about his own life.
Which is then boring. Yeah. And boring begets boring begets boring.
To me. But come at me.
But Last Seasons of Disco is actually a pretty good movie.
Is there a big, there's just waiting people out there with Stillman fans who are like, all right, that was the signal, everybody.
I mean, is there a Whit
when those
Stillman
3
drop?
people come after me, it's going to be a war.
The thing is that if they do, the algorithm won't put them up on your feed. So
if Whit Stillman directed Aladdin, they'd be inside. They'd want to hear all about it.
Yeah.
So, Amy, how did you come to The Good Place?
Well, I'm going to tell you the truth. I didn't watch it right away, but I knew I was interested in watching it because I like Ted Danson. I think he's very funny. Mm-hmm. And I honestly love Kristen Bell. I'm a big Veronica Mars fan. So
you're on board for the new whatever they're going to do? They're going to do like a Hulu reboot thing?
Yeah.
Do you call yourself a marshmallow?
I mean, I don't call myself that because I think it's...
but that's what they call the fans,
if you want to
right?
lump me in a bag of the Veronica Mars marshmallows, then I'm okay with that. Like, I love that show. I'm a huge fan. I gave money to the Kickstarter thing to get the movie going. And I really like her. Normally, I like her because normally she's a person that I think would really irritate me. She has the ability to kind of... She's a little bit grating and... her Veronica Mars character is a little pushy, and she's just very good. Eleanor is pushy, and she's really good at kind of getting under your skin that way. But I think that just kind of, to me, shows her skills. I like her. She seems really down to earth. And so I'm always interested in just kind of watching her perform. She has really good comedic chops, I think, and really great sense of timing. So I thought, I'm going to watch that because she's my homegirl, Veronica Mars. So... That was actually the conversation I had with myself. Yeah. And so then, of course, that took me to the show. And then immediately, I loved the idea of the show. I'm a huge fan of, philosophy and psychology and, talking on and on like a ridiculous person about both of those things. So it was kind of in an instant that you could see that show was going to just get deep into, examining the questions that people who like those sort of things like to obsess over. So
nice.
Probably in the first couple episodes, I thought this is really different and fantastic. Yeah.
Well, and so what is your, we've had people on the show before who have mentioned that they do not like sitcoms in general, but then, I don't know if that was the sitcom gods being angered by my statement or what, but so what is your general feeling on sitcoms? Are you a sitcom person?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I grew up. I've seen a lot of the 70s sitcoms. I think were probably the first ones I really sunk myself into. So I appreciate that structure of a show. I think that they're great. I think, it's like anything else. I love a sitcom, but it has to be well done for me. And
we'll come back to that.
Yeah.
Now, I'm curious. So,
who overall just doesn't like a sitcom at all?
So the argument was made that as like an escapist and kind of I don't know, the medium of it being not something that they could enjoy or something like that. So I don't know. I don't get it.
Yeah,
I was raised on sitcoms.
Now you mentioned a specific decade of sitcoms. 70s. What 70s sitcoms did you watch?
Like All in the Family, Soap. Maybe Soap was a little 80s, but
Soap was good.
80s. The stuff like that.
Norman Lear stuff.
Who?
Like Norman Lear stuff.
Norman Lear stuff was great. Yeah.
Did either of you watch? There was something this week on ABC, like live from a studio audience. Did either of you see that?
You're going to have to be more specific.
Okay. No. So it was called Live from Live from a Studio Audience. And essentially what it was Jimmy Kimmel and hosted with Norman Lear. And they did a live
That
taping.
guy's got to be like 120 years old at this point.
He's in his 90s.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what it was is they recorded a live episode of All in the Family and the Jeffersons.
Did they get Carol O'Connor to come in?
No. So it was with modern actors. Like
Okay.
the scripts were uncut, except they had to bleep out a certain word that shall not be named that starts at the end. But Woody Harrelson was Archie. Marissa Tomei was Edith. And Ike Barinholtz was Meathead.
He's funny.
Yeah,
he
was. Yeah. He was really good, and it was Ellie Kemper was Sally Struthers.
Oh, she needs to do something now that Kimmy Schmidt's done. So.
Yeah.
And then for the Jeffersons, Jamie Foxx played George, and he blew his lines many times.
It's not terribly surprising.
Which is surprising considering he's won an Oscar.
I go with mine, not terribly surprising.
Yeah.
And Wanda Sykes was Mrs. Jefferson, and then
Wheezy.
We got Wheezy, and then I don't know who played their son. I'm not familiar with the actor, but it was really funny. I was surprised, and of course it's timely because a lot of the issues they were dealing with back then seemed to meet the social climate that we have today, and that was, I think, the point of doing it.
Yeah. Honestly, I heard about that, but somebody sent it to me in a Facebook message, and they were like, "Are you going to see that thing with Jimmy Kimmel and it's the Jeffersons and All in the Family, but it's live?" And then I was just like, "What is this ridiculous message?" Like I didn't know, I hadn't heard anything else about it, so I just blew it off. But I suppose I can find it now streaming somewhere.
If you have the Hulu,
I have the Hulu.
You can type it, and that's how I found it. It was really funny. I really liked it, and But Jamie Foxx really does a really bad impression of Sherman Hemsley. Just kind of shakes around, and all the time it was just really weird. But everyone else was great. Wanda Sykes, man,
she's funny.
She's hilarious.
Yeah, she's brilliant.
So,
I don't buy the idea that a sitcom is a complete form of escapism, by the way.
I think it's a good one.
No, I think for someone to see it like that, it's a little bit of a lame excuse because